You feed your plants in early spring. Within days, the leaves turn bright green. Growth seems fast. You feel hopeful. But by mid-season, something changes. The soil looks hard. The surface dries quickly. The leaves begin to pale again. You add more fertilizer. The cycle repeats. Quick growth for a few weeks. Then weakness. Then more feeding. Now picture a different garden. The growth is slower at first. Not dramatic. Not flashy. But by late summer, the leaves are steady and deep green. The soil stays softer after watering. The plants hold through heat or cool spells without sudden stress. There is a natural compost method that creates this steadiness. It works by changing what happens under the soil, not just above it. If your plants seem weak even after fertilizer, you're not doing anything wrong. Many careful gardeners notice the same pattern over the years. Before explaining why this worked, it helps to understand what chemical fertilizers actually do. Most chemical fertilizers are designed to feed the plant directly. They dissolve quickly in water. The roots absorb the nutrients fast. This is why you often see quick green growth. The plant responds right away. But the soil itself does not improve. The structure of the soil does not change. It may even become tighter over time. When nutrients are added in a quick, concentrated form, soil life is not being built. It is only being bypassed. Healthy soil is not just dirt. It is alive. It contains tiny organisms you cannot see. Worms move through it. Fungi stretch like fine threads. Bacteria break down organic matter. Together, they create a system that supports roots gently and steadily. When soil depends only on fast fertilizer, this living system can weaken. The ground may become compact. Water may run off instead of soaking in. Plants may seem hungry again sooner than expected. So more fertilizer is added. The cycle continues. Over time, the plant becomes dependent on repeated feeding. The soil does not learn to support the plant on its own. This is where compost changes the story. Compost works differently because it feeds the soil life first. That is the quiet secret. When you add compost, you are not simply feeding roots. You are feeding the worms, the microbes, and the helpful fungi living in the ground. These small helpers break down the compost slowly. As they do, they release nutrients in a gentle, steady way. The plant receives what it needs over time, not all at once. This slow release matters. It prevents sudden surges of growth that can stress stems and leaves. It helps roots grow deeper. It builds soil that holds water more evenly. In colder regions, compost adds insulation. It protects roots from sharp temperature swings. It keeps soil from freezing and thawing too quickly. In warmer climates, compost helps soil hold moisture longer. It reduces the need for constant watering. The strength comes from below the surface. The plant stands taller because the soil is stronger. The method itself is simple. It does not require complex systems or special machines. It begins with balance. Kitchen scraps, such as vegetable peels and fruit scraps, provide what we call green material. Dry leaves, shredded paper, or small pieces of cardboard provide brown material. When these two types are layered together, they create the right mix for decomposition. Air is also important. Compost needs oxygen to break down cleanly. This does not mean heavy turning every day. Even gentle stirring once in a while is enough. Time does most of the work. You do not need expensive bins. A small corner of the yard works. Even a large container with holes for airflow can work for smaller spaces. The key is balance and patience, not perfection. Many beginners worry they will do it wrong. Compost is forgiving. It responds to small adjustments. The most common problem is too much green material or too much water. When the pile becomes heavy and wet, it may begin to smell. This happens because there is not enough air. The breakdown turns from healthy to sour. If your pile smells, it's just asking for adjustment. Adding dry leaves or shredded paper restores balance. Gently loosening the pile allows air to return. Soon the smell fades. Compost rarely fails completely. It simply shifts depending on what it receives. Too dry, and it slows down. Too wet, and it struggles to breathe. Balanced, it works quietly. Understanding this balance removes fear. You are not forcing nature. You are guiding it. Time is another concern. Many people expect compost to be ready in days. But compost works on a different clock. It may take weeks, sometimes a few months. This slower pace is not a weakness. It is a strength. Because nutrients are released gradually, plants are not pushed into sudden growth. Leaves are less likely to burn. Roots are less likely to become shallow. Gardening is not a race. It is a season. When you allow compost to mature naturally, you build soil that supports plants long after the pile has finished breaking down. When the compost turns dark and crumbly, with an earthy smell, it is ready to use. A little goes a long way. You can spread a thin layer on top of the soil around established plants. Rain and watering will carry nutrients downward. You can mix some into planting holes before setting new plants in place. In containers, a gentle refresh at the top improves structure and moisture balance. It is wise not to use unfinished compost directly on delicate seedlings. Young roots are sensitive. If the material is still warm or has visible scraps, give it more time. Patience protects tender growth. In warm regions, placing mulch over compost helps keep moisture from evaporating too quickly. In cold regions, adding compost before winter shields soil from harsh conditions and prepares it for spring. Within one growing season, you may notice changes. Leaves may appear deeper in color, not because of a sudden burst, but because feeding is steady. Soil may stay moist longer after watering. You may find you water less often. Stems may feel firmer. Plants may recover from heat more easily. These changes are gradual. They do not happen overnight, but they are lasting. It is important to keep expectations realistic. Compost improves soil year after year. Each season builds on the last. If you have been using chemical fertilizers for a long time, there is no need to stop suddenly. A gentle shift works best. You can begin by reducing chemical feeding while adding compost regularly. Over time, as soil health improves, the need for quick fertilizers often decreases naturally. Caregivers helping older gardeners may find this method easier in the long run. Once compost is established, it reduces the need for frequent feeding schedules. Observation replaces constant action. If you would like, you can share in the comments what climate you garden in. Are your summers hot and dry or cool and short? What plant seems to struggle most in your garden? Have you tried compost before, even in a small way? Your experience may help someone else who is learning. In the end, strong plants begin with strong soil. When soil is alive and balanced, it does much of the work for you. Roots explore deeper. Water is held more evenly. Nutrients arrive in their own time. There is no need to force growth. No need to chase quick fixes. By feeding the soil, you create a steady system that supports your garden season after season. Healthy soil does the hard work quietly. Do less. Get more.